Here are some progressions to improve your two-handed topspin backhand. The first thing you want to get used to is using your non-dominant hand. And so I want to find my grip first. So with the top hand, the non-dominant hand, I like to be in an Eastern forehand grip. With the bottom hand, the dominant hand, I like to be in a continental grip. So this is a nice comfortable grip for the topspin backhand that I recommend when you're first starting out at least. The first thing I'm going to do is go on the Topspin Pro. If you don't have the Topspin Pro, I recommend getting one of these, and the link to get one is in the description of the video. And what I want you to do is, with your non-dominant hand choked up on the paddle, so the normal position that you'd have it for a two-handed backhand, I want you to practice the feel of getting topspin using the Topspin Pro. So it's really an upward motion. I'm leading with the top edge of the paddle first. Notice that I distance myself a little bit from the Topspin Pro so that I have space to hit. I'm not crunched in right here trying to make this move. And the idea is that I want to make this ball spin forward and also this lever go forward at the same time. Next, I'll have my partner toss me some balls, and I'm still going with my non-dominant hand. So I'm starting with my paddle back behind my back shoe. He's gonna toss the ball somewhere in this area, and I'm just gonna try to put topspin on the ball. So if I let it come behind me enough, notice I can do a 100% vertical swing. I don't have to swing forward because right now I'm just getting the feel of putting topspin on the ball. So I'm getting a nice high flying ball with a lot of rotation on it. After I've got that down a few times, I'm gonna make contact with the ball a little bit further forward, closer to my front foot, so that I can swing slightly forward as I'm coming up with that topspin motion. I still am using my non-dominant hand right now though. Next, I'm going to put my dominant hand on the paddle, but I only want to put my thumb and my first finger. So these three fingers are going to be off the paddle. So I find my continental grip with the bottom hand, and then I remove those three fingers from the paddle. And the reason for this is that I want low grip pressure. Oftentimes I see players and they pull too much with their dominant hand, and this leads the swing to be short. We want a really long swing with our non-dominant arm on the backhand. So by gripping loose with the two fingers here, it's preventing me from pulling across. I do a couple on the Topspin Pro where I get the feeling of that. And then I get a couple balls tossed from a static position. Again, I'm removing variables by starting already ready, already sideways, not incorporating footwork yet. Just get the feeling of hitting a couple with the three fingers off on the bottom hand. I'm close to the net, so it's okay if I hit the ball out right now. I'm just trying to get the feeling of hitting that topspin over and over, now with two hands on the grip. Next, I put both hands on the paddle. I have all fingers on the paddle, but I want to remember the feeling of having the two fingers, so I'm not gripping the paddle too tight, especially with my non-dominant hand. Do a couple practices on the Topspin Pro. Really feeling like I'm leading with that top edge of the paddle. So in order to do that, I need to start substantially lower than the ball. So that top edge is coming first. And then I hit a few more static shots. Then I want to put the pieces together. So I'm going to start from a ready position. The first example I'm going to practice is turning, stepping out, and then stepping forward to hit the ball. So a realistic ball coming at me. So I turn and step out on my outside foot, and then I step forward and hit the ball. When you turn, if you just focus on turning your hips and shoulders, you don't have to worry too much about what the paddle's doing. So I'm here, and I'm just simply doing this to turn. And it's good to put yourself in different situations so that when you start playing, you're already familiar with a lot of these situations. And so if you don't have the Topspin Pro, do the same things that I'm doing, but with shadow swings. So we're moving and then we're shadow swinging to hit the ball. But here I'm gonna do an example where I have to move backwards. I'm gonna do it from close to the net, but this would realistically be from closer to the baseline when you're playing. And so I'm gonna practice my footwork. I'm practicing turning on my first step, getting behind the ball, and then transferring my weight. Watch how I transfer my weight on this shot. So I turn, I step, hit, and I'm transferring my weight up because my weight's on my back leg. That's the most balanced position from here. So I'm doing 3 steps to get to this deep ball. So I turn, cross over, step, hit, and notice the direction that my weight is going on this particular shot. Again, if you don't have the Topspin Pro, you're doing the same thing, but with a shadow swing, getting used to that feeling. This video is sponsored by asap.com. I highly recommend them when it comes to food delivery. You can use the promo code USOPEN10 at checkout to get $10 off your order of $25 or more. Now back to the video. Shadow swings are really important because you know that you can get every step correct. When you have an actual ball coming at you, you're in more of a rush. You can't control the speed at which you do this. So if I start off at a walking pace, I can guarantee that I'm getting the steps that I want. I have awareness. I can also tell if I'm turning my shoulders on my first step, and then I can tell what my weight's doing at the end. Notice how I'm turning on my first step. I'm using the same footwork that I just did on the Topspin Pro. And I'm shifting my weight up because I'm going back for a deeper ball. One more progression that I like to do, especially when I start getting into a live rally, is to bump the ball to myself first. So that gives me time to set up in a good position. It slows down the rate at which I need to hit the ball. And so watch how that looks. So I open my paddle face, then I change my grips, I turn, and I hit. So the good thing about this is it's causing me to change grips this way. And then when I'm ready to hit, as I start my turn, I have to practice getting into my proper topspin backhand grip as I'm turning. I'm actually spinning the paddle this direction with my hands nice and loose so that I get into the proper grip. So this is a good realistic thing. Say for example, you just hit a forehand and now you need to change to a backhand. There's a grip change involved there to get this topspin backhand grip. So again, the ball comes at me, I bump it to myself, just really tapping it, and then I turn and hit. This also gets me used to making adjustment steps. So if I do a bad bump, maybe it's too much right at me, I can practice adjusting away from the ball to get proper spacing to hit. So say I do a bad bump right at myself, now I make an adjustment step away, and then I have the proper spacing to hit. So bump the ball up high to yourself, gives you time to set up into a good position rather than being rushed, especially when you're just trying this topspin forehand out on the court for the first time.